Okay, Brandon, we have an announcement. Dare I say, a life-changing one.
Truly, friends, snitches, lovers, we are expanding the Pop Snitch universe. It's getting bigger, like a Bravo cast after a messy contract negotiation.
Yes, we are launching a brand new weekly show called The Snitchuation Room.
It's our relationship, dating, and conflict resolution advice show,
where we give completely unlicensed, untherapeutic, yet weirdly helpful advice.
It's armchair wisdom with a little chaos and a lot of honesty.
And here's the best part. You don't have to subscribe to anything new. The Snitchuation Room will live right inside the regular Pop Snitch feed.
Which means you'll just see it pop up each week like a red flag in your DMs.
And we want you to send us your questions. Do you have relationship drama, dating dilemmas, friendship fallouts, roommate horror stories? Should I text him back questions? We want all of it.
If it's messy, we want it. If it's chaotic, we want it. If your friends are tired of hearing about it, we especially want it.
You can submit anonymously through the link at popsnitch.com or email us at popsnitchpod@gmail.com.
We will, of course, protect your identity unless you want us to drag someone by name. Then we can talk.
So get your questions in, people. The Snitchuation Room launches soon, right here on the Pop Snitch feed.
And remember, you bring the situations,
and we'll do the snitching. Hey there, and welcome to Pop Snitch Pod. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Brandon.
And we are back here on a weekend after our weekend at BravoCon. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling rested and rejuvenated after a few days of feeling like I had to recover from 2 a.m. nights and, living like we were in college again as opposed to going to bed at 9:30 like we do every night.
Well, you were living like you were in college again. My body can't take it. I think the biggest lesson that I learned from BravoCon is that, I'm not meant for Vegas. I've given her 5 tries. 5 tries.
Well, that's okay. I mean, now we've learned that BravoCon's only going to be every 2 years, so you can kind of store up your ability to be there. And also, hopefully next time this will be more of a work trip than an enjoy trip. So you can kind of put that kind of energy into it.
That's true. I feel like had that been the case where I'd been able to go in with interview questions and knew who I was talking to and was thinking of it from that perspective, I would have enjoyed it more. And that's not to say I didn't enjoy it, because I did. But I wrote a Substack about it this week that I wish that I had understood what general admissions got you. And so I wrote a Substack about 10 things that it will get you, what to expect, because I wish that someone had done that for me, and maybe they did and I missed it. But I was very surprised. I mean, I live in New York City. I'm very rarely surprised by pricing. But I was so taken aback by Vegas pricing. And I think they're doing dynamic pricing for big events now, because everything is for the BravoCon, obviously for events, if you go to US Open, if you go to things like that, it's going to be astronomical. All the drinks were $25. It was bizarre.
Everything is priced like a Major League Baseball field. The food, everything is
it's not more.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's $25 for any cocktail.
Yeah.
If it's what normally would be a $25 cocktail at a really nice restaurant, that's a $30 cocktail. A beer is $15.
It was absurd for the cost that you're already paying just to get there and stay in Vegas. And I think it particularly irritated me because when we lived in California, and granted, this was 16 and a half years ago when we first moved to California. I recognize that. But when we lived there in the early aughts, or late aughts, early 2010s, right? People went to Vegas for a cheap good time. You could go get really cheap rooms. You drank for practically nothing, whether you were gambling or not. And there were some really great restaurants, but the hotel restaurants had not started pricing their drinks and food for shitty hotel food in the way that they have now. And I've noticed that a lot of them have the stuff on iPads, and I think that they're doing that on purpose for weekends when they have F1 or BravoCon so that they can up the
100%.
prices. And it just pisses me off.
Well, it's, it goes back to the whole thing that we said when we first got there was like, this truly is Disney World, Disneyland for adults. Like in the way that everything is overly priced. Like everything looks good from far away, but the closer you get up to it, you're like, oh wow, this is an old ride, or this is an old, like everything kind of like has glitz and glamour to it until you get up close.
At
and then
night
you're like,
with the lights.
Oh boy.
And then in the face of broad daylight, you're like, ugh.
Ew, it's kind of gross.
Well, it was, I mean, for me, it's hideous. Like, I don't find Vegas to be like particularly attractive. I don't like casinos. I had told you I've been craving a cigarette for like an entire calendar year now. And I have not had a cigarette in 10 years.
The smoking really bothered me this time.
It was disgusting.
Like, I felt it in my eyes and my throat. From
yeah,
just, like,
I kept having to take my contacts out and let them sit for like a while because every time I walked through a casino, the smoke was so thick that my eyes just got like dry immediately. And I could, like you said, feel it in the back of my throat. And I was like, well, this has disabused me of the need for a cigarette.
Well, and it is strange because the group of people that go to Vegas on like a normal basis, like I don't feel like it's really advertised to like the super rich. So like the people who are there are spending all of this money are like hardworking middle class types. And it's like, oh my gosh, like we're just being utterly abused in the desert.
Truly.
For what's left of our cash.
Yeah. I mean, I will say the people at BravoCon, I really enjoyed like all the conversations I had, all the people I met were so great. And so that part of it, just chatting with people was a delight. I got frustrated with like some of the lines and with the way that they obviously separated out way too many VIP chairs in some of the bigger rooms, such that if everyone in VIP sat there at once, there would still be too much room. And then they had too many people with general admission in the back. And I know that they did that on purpose to create like the desire to upgrade. But the only upgrade for VIP was to sit up closer. And I'm like, I'll just sit closer to a monitor. But had I known that they were going to be streaming it, honestly, I don't think I would have even gotten a general admission ticket. I think I would have scouted out. I would have spent the money on getting a room at the Four Seasons because that's where they all stayed. And I would have figured out what restaurants they were going to, which companies were sponsoring events, and just gone there. It would have been easier to meet people and a better situation. But yeah, that's my biggest gripe. I mean, I'm glad I went because I really enjoyed the people we met, but I was agitated by the price points just of Vegas in general because I find Vegas to be like, ugh. If I'm going to spend that kind of money and I'm going to be on a plane for that long, I want to wake up in Paris. like and I'm going to spend less money there somehow.
Yeah. So I thought about like an idea that I had the other day. It's like, because you were encouraging me the other day based on astrology to like write down ideas about like creative ventures and things that I'd like to kind of see in the next year and all this.
Yeah, we had a new moon in Scorpio this week.
I got hit by a crazy number of ideas for our like podcasting thing. Number one, the Snitchuation Room, which we promoted at the beginning of this episode, is a new thing we're going to be trying to do because I love Rachel and I, our 16 years of marriage, our relationship that's been even longer than that, like giving our like friends who are in dating relationships advice, whether they take it or not. And I'm like, let's bring that to the pod. Unsolicited, chaotic energy. Often we have different takes, so that will also be interesting. And we're not just looking for relationship stuff. We're looking for roommate drama. We're looking for anything that you want to bring to us, but we really want to make this a lot of fun. And we're totally open to us just reading your problem or maybe having some people on to kind of really walk through it.
Yeah.
But another idea that I had is that the next time there is BravoCon, that we actually take our listeners with us, and after the events are over each day, we like go to different bars and host events all throughout BravoCon and like play games and like actually get into the drama that we want to hear about at BravoCon. And so like maybe we have enough listeners by then that they would want to meet us at BravoCon and do these like nightly events with us.
Well, and even if we weren't, like, maybe you go to BravoCon and then I host events in New York City.
Oh my gosh. Rachel's trying to find any excuse not to have to go back to BravoCon.
No, I want to go to BravoCon. I don't want to go to Vegas.
Well, Vegas is where BravoCon's probably going to be.
Listen, I filled out the survey and they were like, where would you like to see it next? And I was like, anywhere but Vegas.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I would love for it to be back in New York just because it's super easy for us. But
I know. I know
New
the
York's
Javits
awesome.
Center like wasn't ideal for it, but I just
Well,
the
and I
day
definitely
it
don't
rained in Vegas.
Oh.
Oh my God. It was like a torrential downpour where we just had to be like, you know what? We're going to have water up to our shins and we're going to have to walk because there is no world. I'm going to get in a car in the desert with people who don't drive in the rain. And sure enough, Madison from Southern Charm got into a car accident that night. But I had told you, I'm like, I'm not getting in the car with someone who doesn't know how to drive in the rain. It's absolutely flooding in the middle of the street. I'd rather be on the sidewalk. And it's going to take forever. The traffic was absurd. Everyone was soaking wet. It was just sheer misery.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, my problem with all of this is that I just don't want them to end up in like Orlando or Los Angeles or like somewhere where it's going to cost even more money because of the hotel thing. The thing about Vegas is the lodging is cheap compared to other places.
Yeah.
So if you're going to be paying $300 and something, probably $400 and something next time, I'd rather the lodging be cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway. All right, well, let's get into this rundown.
All right, I want to talk briefly about Dancing with the Stars. You had asked me about some sort of controversy going on, and I want you to talk about it because I was unaware.
So, I mean, the whole thing was this, is like, you know, the Andy Richter of it all, he stayed for way too long and like people who were pretty good were getting voted off. And this has happened in the past with people like Bobby Bones and stuff like that. And so the question I was asking Rachel is, do you think the show should be all about whether the dancing is good or not? Or do you think that the like crowd funded votes should have as much weight as they do? Because like I can just vote for the person that I want to stay, whether their dances are good or not. And it tends to be more heavily weighed even than the judges' scores. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of like where a lot of the controversy is around right now. Is like, are we seeing better dancing or are we just seeing people who have more followers? Which is kind of like the problem that we see even on shows like Love Island and some of the other shows that we cover.
Mm-hmm. I guess I don't know enough about it. I don't know if it's like some of the singing shows where they'll come up with something that the judges have a save, or, you know, like I don't know I've never watched a full season of Dancing with the Stars, so I don't know if the fans have like full control or what.
It's the fans are saving someone who's in the bottom. That's essentially what I think is how it works.
Okay, well, I have no idea. I struggle to care. I know that's awful. Because I don't watch the show. I hate that Whitney got voted off. I saw her video about it because I think the clips that I did see of her, first of all, the glow up from her first season of Mormon Wives to her finishing Dancing with the Stars needs to be studied at a lab. Like, she looks fantastic. And it really frustrates me online that people want to villainize her. I'm like, she didn't really do anything. Like, she was kind of like, I want to be the leader. Oh, you want to be the leader? And like a pot stirrer. But she was never villainous. And now we have Demi, who has actually been like pretty awful. And people are ignoring it because I just don't think this season is like hitting in the same way that the other two did, because it's coming at a time when there's a lot of other TV going on. But I don't know. What do you think?
So, I mean, the biggest thing that people have a problem with, I have a lot of takes based on what you just said. Number one, I'll just be honest, like maybe it's my taste or whatever, but I actually think that she looked better in season 1.
Really?
Yeah, I think she was cuter when she just looked a little more normal and had the short hair and like had a little more weight on. Like, I'll just be honest, that's just who I am. And I mean, that's how I feel about that. Although I think she's gorgeous now and looks fine, obviously. Do you. But I will also say that people are like all upset because she said and even says in this season that's currently out that the reason she came back to do the show at all was because she wanted to be on Dancing with the Stars. And people take some sort of umbrage with that. And I'm like, look, why else do any of this? Put your life on display for people like me to make a comment on it. I mean, if you can't get what you ultimately want, which she wanted to be a dancer. She went to school for dance. She's a great dancer. It's like, of course she's going to leverage that for this. And why else would you put yourself through the insanity that these women have, but to make money, achieve my goals, live my dreams? I mean, that's what this affords you. It's the only thing they get out of it.
Right.
And so I totally side with Whitney on this, that like, I want her to create drama. She does a great job of that. I want her to live her dream. I want her to experience all that all the sacrifices that her and her family are making to be able to live whatever life she wants to live. So I'm all about it. And I hope she goes on to do more things. Apparently, this has really boosted her in terms of like the ability for her to make money going forward. A lot of people have talked about how this is really going to catapult her forward, even just being with brand deals and all that kind of stuff.
I really like her, and I appreciate what I really like about her is that she's not finicky about sharing what she wants. Like, I thought it was kind of, I think Michaela on the show was like, you know, Whitney really wanted to like get a scripted show and a seat at the Oscars. So I am like, in lieu of more money, she asked for these things. They told her no, and she said, not a problem. I'll be on Dancing with the Stars. Like, I think you should ask for what you want. I'm glad she did. And it seems like she ended up being on the show later anyway, so.
This is the whole problem, and I think like these women are still kind of embroiled in a lot of patriarchy because of like the area of the country they live in and the religion that they all that some of them still espouse is like the idea that women should just be happy for whatever they get. And, you know, they should, you know, just live with whatever, you know, the world allows them to have, as opposed to be able to actually seek after the things that they want. And so when I hear that from them, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like you are the ones bringing in the money, not your husbands. You're the people who have achieved this for yourselves. This is why you have the money that you have in the life that you have. Like, go out there and capitalize on it and don't apologize.
Yeah. And they don't like that she's doing that. I also feel like her husband is so supportive, most supportive of all of them. And I think they may even subconsciously feel a little bit jealous of that. Because we were talking yesterday even about Jen and her husband, who like flipped out in the first season about her going to Chippendales and how they've like done all of this therapy and they went there together and like kind of had a laugh about it. And it seems like now he's like, you know what? We're making more money doing this. Maybe I just need to be like home with the kids and let you do your thing. And he's supporting her. And the other husbands are, because of the Jesse affair thing, are like, well, I guess we need to go to all the press with our wives and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, they're ignoring the fact that Jessie and her husband had quietly separated prior to her even meeting him. But yeah, it's just like, it's very interesting seeing what is happening to these relationships when the women are the breadwinners and the men are feeling emasculated. Because I think Jordan said that probably 5 times throughout the conversations about their split. I just feel emasculated. I just feel emasculated. I don't think he felt emasculated by the fact that she had an emotional affair with this guy and kissed him twice. I think he feels emasculated by the fact that like she bought the house, she brings in the money, she was attracted to someone else, and like where does that leave him? Is he going to get like an allowance?
No, and he don't even work.
I know.
Like that's the whole thing. Yeah, I mean, I think ultimately this all comes from a place of Jordan not pulling his weight in the marriage to begin with. I don't think he works. I don't think that he brings anything much to the table. And she had already split from him because of that. She said like things were so bad for so long that it was inevitable that they were going to split. And so like even in clips from the reunion that is coming on in December, she's already saying like the biggest mistake I made was not leaving this man fully before any of this began. And I'm like, that's big words.
Well, I felt so sorry for her. I can't remember what podcast she was on or who she was talking to. I think it was not skinny, but not fat. But she was saying that she does not think that she is attractive, that she actually has real issues feeling because she has seen so much hate on the internet. So many people tell her she looks like a man, that she has an ugly chin or something. I was like, these are things that would not have occurred to me. The feedback I would give her is that she's beautiful, but she needs to like cool it on the plastic surgery and just like allow herself to be beautiful, would be the worst thing I could say to her. You know what I mean? But like, I think that because he felt emasculated, he was preying on her insecurities and speaking down to her as well, because that's what she said. And so then she meets someone who's like, no, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're wonderful. And she's like, oh, someone does think that I'm attractive and nice and appreciates what I'm doing. And, I'm not saying she should have done it, but I am saying I get it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a big part of it is that there was insecurity on her part that she's admitted to. Marciano is like a lunatic. And of course, he's going to prey upon any kind of insecurity, but in the opposite direction, like praising her, love bombing her, this kind of stuff, which is obviously what happened. And I think the sickest part of this on the Marciano front is that this is obviously just a way for him to get into some other franchise, to like have a voice in something else and like, become like a villain on another show. And I'm just like, this is sickening to me. And I mean, he really is.
Hulu shows. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. And he is like, they're trying to create their own universe too. So I'm kind of wondering like how much of this is producer fueled. So I guess we'll find out as time goes on.
Yeah. Well, as we talk about misogyny and how it hurts everyone, let's shift to Southern Charm.
Yes.
They started their newest season out on Wednesday. But before that even came out, one of the things to come out of BravoCon was Shep having a meltdown the last day of BravoCon at about 2 a.m. in one of the hotels in Vegas and drunkenly screaming that Craig and Paige's relationship was a sham, that they were faking it and made millions off the back of reality TV and then bit the hand that fed them, and she dumped him on a podcast.
Shep is a lunatic old man who literally does not know up from down, left from right. He has never had a job. And he is a child. As evidenced through that last season, I don't know what more people need to see. I am no fan of Craig Conover. No. Let me be clear. But the man works. The man is trying to capitalize on the fame and honestly, like the crap he's put himself through by being on TV and the things that he's exposed about himself through being on TV. So I do not blame Craig for making however much money he can make doing what he's doing. As far as Paige goes and as far as them breaking up, it was all Craig's fault. The only reason that she brought this up on the podcast and broke up with him on the podcast is because he was being a full-on loon, taking girls on vacations and stuff before it was even announced.
Well, and first of all, she didn't break up with him on a podcast. She announced
No, it was already breaking up. Yeah, but that's the whole thing. And
he's already said their relationship was not a sham. I will tell you, Shep hates Paige because Shep is a trust fund baby who is the one of the many on that cast who has been unable to catapult themselves into some sort of business. What's interesting about that particular cast is that Madison and Craig came in as kind of like normies. Madison was a hairdresser and Craig was like in law school, and they were cruel to Craig in early Southern Charm, like truly treated him like dog shit. And he now has catapulted himself into making more money than them. And I really think that grates on Shep, and the fact that Paige is making even more than Craig, because he keeps trying to like denigrate her podcast and what they've done. And so anyway, he posted that, and Paige commented on the Page 6 thing and was like, does he need money? ? I can
literally
lend him some.
No, and like the thing is, like, the only reason you would do that with all of these cameras around, all of these fans around with their phones out, everything, is because you are out of your mind, probably drunk. And so like, this is classic Shep Rose behavior. And anybody who is on Shep's side in this is truly lunatic fringe material.
I don't think anyone was It was interesting because Miss Pat answered a question on one of the panels at BravoCon where she like doubled down that Paige was mean to Craig. And they were like, well, how was she mean to him? And she was like, well, Craig was like finally ready to settle down and have a family, and she wouldn't do that. And it's like, excuse? She was mean to him because she realized she didn't want to spend forever with him. And Paige I love it when Paige gets mad and gets in the comment section. She got in the comment section of that, was like, you know what? I'll just get married 4 times. Like Miss Pat.
And I'm also just going to say this, is when the men, no one is telling, well, I guess I shouldn't say no one, but I feel like we're far more forgiving of the men who never want to settle down. Like, I mean, the Wests and the Jessies and even the Kyles of it all, like, we love that they're staying out late, that they're doing their thing, that they got multiple women. But the moment that a woman goes like, no, I want to focus on my business. I don't need you. I want you around, but I don't need you around. It's like something breaks in these men's brain where they just cannot maintain. It's like, wait, what? Like, I'm not the center of the universe? Oh, this doesn't just depend on me? Oh, my timeline for children isn't just fully dependent on my wants and needs? Like, oh, dear God. And I just get sickened by, I mean, I'll just be honest, there are way too many Craig Conover fans out there, people who sympathize with this man. It's psycho. It's psycho. Read the receipts.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, I sympathized with him a lot when he was younger because he had like a serious alcohol problem, Adderall issue that he talked about on the show. And like I said, these older guys were absolutely ruthless and cruel to him. Whitney and Shep treated him, I mean, Shep named his dog Craig, you know, like they were just so mean to him. And I do feel proud of him for like building what he's built, but he's become like super MAGA and like just expected Paige to drop everything and bear his children because he felt like he was ready at 37. I think he's kind of like a whiny little bitch boy now. That part of him, the lying part, the part that like gets whiny and upset and falls into bad habits when he doesn't get his way, I think it's coming out to play this season based on the first episode.
And also, I understand some of the Southern charm of it all as well, because, and what I mean by that is he's caught, but during this whole season with Summer House and his kind of crossover with Summer House, he's dealing with the intersection of two worlds. Like all of these people down there in Charleston and then all the New York crew. I mean, there could not be two different ways of looking at life. We experienced this in our own life with friends that we have from when we lived in South Carolina, family members that we lived when we were in South Carolina versus our worldview now that we live in New York. And like, I think it's hard for him to have all of these friends, many of whom are losers, being like, well, look, he's trying to settle down. He's giving up everything that we're still out there doing to like really settle down and do this thing. And she's the one not wanting to do it. I just think that this is just really too much difference between the two of them and the worlds that they want to live in. Yeah. And I think that that's not something that we have to pick sides on. Like, literally, just let it go. Yeah. Do what she did, which was basically like, I love you, but this is just not going to work out. He's the one who turned it dirty. Like, truly. Right. I mean, when she announced it, the irony of it is that when she announced it on her podcast, she was so nice about him. Oh, and so genuinely sad about it and said still writing for him. Yeah, only complimentary things. And he let her get dragged, let rumors of infidelity. His first words on this season are, I was betrayed by the person I cared about most. How were you betrayed? Because she didn't want to marry you? Because she didn't want to be with you. That's the betrayal? Yeah. Sick. So, yeah, I'm not a Craig fan. I haven't been for a very long time. I'm glad Paige got out. And it's just a proof point that when women dump men, they get hotter and richer and more powerful, and men feel sorry for themselves. Yeah, that's true. So, whatever. All right, let's move on to your favorite show. Oh, we don't want to talk anymore about Southern Charm? Oh, you can. Oh, okay. Well, what I was going to talk about is just the Craig and Austin drama that is obviously continuing. I mean, you want to talk about the real love fest on this show, the real bromance is this Austin and Craig thing. And like, you know, I mean, Austin is diabolical. I mean, the truth of the matter is like, you know, Craig talks to him about his sobriety and all of this stuff last year. And then this year, the first chance that Austin is like, Craig's drinking again. Craig's taking shots.
See, I saw that differently. These men on here are so weird and disgusting that I like Austin the most.
Okay,
that's where I am mentally.
Give me the take.
So my take is that Austin read that as Craig using alcoholism to excuse his other, as a crutch, or lied about it to make Austin feel bad. That is how I feel like he's coming at it. So he's saying Craig is saying, oh, I'm an alcoholic. I can't have any alcohol. And then when we're off camera, because he says specifically off camera, we're out doing stuff. He's having shots and saying, oh, it's no big deal. And so I think he's like, is he an alcoholic or is he not? Is he just an alcoholic when cameras are rolling, or is he always an alcoholic? Because that's why he's like, you're different when you're on camera. You're a liar. That's what I think he was trying to point out. Yeah.
That's clarity. Well, I think, that's a very good point, because is he using the alcoholism, which may be a real thing and maybe something he's trying to figure out for himself. But
he definitely has some demons with it. Yes. I'll tell you that much.
And is that the thing he's using as an excuse for all of the other poor behavior, being a bad friend, being unable to be reached? Mm-hmm. I'm kind of getting a better picture of why Austin and Shep actually were upset last year. Mm-hmm. Is that there was a lot of I don't know, non-transparency with Craig. What are you doing? How are you doing it? Why are we unable to reach you? But then all of a sudden you want to hang out. You want to be here and I think a lot of that was when they're not on the show, he's not talking to them.
I was going to say, I think it's back. Yeah. I think they feel like he believes he's better than them.
He definitely does.
And so the tables have turned where they used to be the ones mocking him incessantly, and then when they felt that shift, they did not like it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's my guess. And I think also Craig is a known liar. That is no secret. They literally were able to roll B-roll footage of him lying incessantly throughout Southern Charm, even though he will stand 10 toes down and say, I've never lied while filming.
Well, and I also think that you have to see how the people who've been trustworthy pretty much the whole show, and people who've ridden for the right people and who have been utterly either done wrong because they are just such a nice person, like Vanita, for instance. Mm-hmm. What has she ever done on the show but tell the truth and try to be genuine? And she's the one who's like, I don't F with Craig. I don't talk to him. He's trash. He literally talks junk. He's a liar. And I'm like, oh boy, she does not even want to be in the same room with him. Mm-hmm. And she's a very nice, very genuine person by all stretches of the imagination. So I'm like, yeah. And everybody last year, I had forgotten that the question in that reunion last year was, are you afraid of Craig? It wasn't linked to anything other than, are you afraid of this man? And everyone, including Leva, was like, mm-hmm. No, I'm frightened of him.
Well, we talked about this in the last pod, but at BravoCon, it was revealed that he lost his mind and yelled at Leva to leave his Christmas party over and over and over because she was getting that spinoff with Southern Hospitality.
Yes.
And he didn't want it interfering with his Christmas party or his business.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I believe it.
Yeah, I think he is really touchy, and he has a very bad temper. I don't know. I would never have another sip of alcohol if I became a hateful tyrant when I drank and embarrassed myself on television. I don't care if it was good television. That is one thing. I cannot stand Lala Kent on TV, but one thing I respect her for is that she watched those seasons where she was drinking, and she has talked about this, and she's like, that is humiliation fuel for me enough. Anytime I think I could have a drink, I'll just watch some of the things that James and I said and did, and it's enough to keep me sober for my lifetime.
Yeah, good Lord. Just stopping drinking doesn't necessarily kill crazy, but it did kill a lot of bad things in that woman's life.
Yeah, yeah. So I think Craig needs to lay off the booze, but I am really interested in seeing him trying to navigate dating now, because he's a year younger than I am.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All right. Now, are you ready to get into SLC?
Yeah, let's hit it.
All right. What are your thoughts on the issues with Lisa and John?
I mean, I think John just feels browbeaten by Lisa. I think that he's kind of been the silent type in their marriage, kind of like a wussy. Mm-hmm. And I think she's just kind of taken the lead in everything. If I had to imagine it from a perspective of a lot of relationships I know, it's like where the woman bears all of the mental load for so long that she just begins to make every decision for the man. And then the man like tries to be like, oh, well, I don't really have a lot of agency in this relationship. So now I'm gonna like almost act out and like try to get a reaction. And the woman's like, look, I do everything for you. I make all of our money. I tell you what to do, where to go, when to do it. And now you want to have a say. Now you say that I'm not a good partner. Now you say you don't feel heard. That's what I see happening. I could be wrong. And I mean, Lisa is probably a difficult partner, but I think that's where a lot of it is stemming from.
Yeah, I actually felt bad for her with that. And I rarely feel sorry for her, but I did feel really sorry for her in that moment for all the reasons you just said. I think like similar to what we talked about with Mormon wives, I think housewives, when they begin to, the only other housewives that I think have received this level of notoriety so early into the seasons would be like the early Roni cast, and almost all of their marriages completely fell apart because of it. The men who had been providing to where many of these women stayed home and were rich and had nannies and all these things, suddenly the women were making money, they had agency, they had fame, and that was really, really difficult for the men to swallow. And I think we're seeing that a little bit with John here, where to get her back for that, he like undermines her with the boys. And I think that is what upsets her more than anything. And because she made like a few comments about it. And to me, I don't know, when they were sitting there and he was like sitting at the other end of the table with her, I don't know why, but he like had the demeanor of a parole officer in the way that he was talking to her. Like it was just very like clipped and rude. And did you do this? Did you do that? What did you, like, I don't know.
You know, I think it's the Gottmans or somebody was on that like Diary of a CEO podcast, and they were talking about relationships, and they were saying that the number one thing that you can identify, and I think Orna from couples therapy said the same thing. The number one thing you can identify that you can know that there's a relationship is probably going to end soon is if you can identify contempt. And when I look at him and how he's talking to her, and even like how he's receiving even the sweetness that she's trying to give him, Lisa Barlow trying to give sweetness. And like, because she cares about this man. That's very obvious from this. And like, she wasn't even prepared, I don't think, to have this conversation. It doesn't seem so.
She seems surprised by his responses.
Yes. And so like she really genuinely is coming from a place of trying to be sweet to this man, and you can see contempt in his eyes. You can see the contempt in the shortness of his responses, and that scares me for their relationship.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
With Mary and this church, I am almost scared to say what I really think, because Mary is the most popular. But
say it, girl.
Her wearing Chanel to preach and her bedazzled microphone and Bible, and then she's like, I never plan what I'm going to preach. I just like go with it. I'm like, girl, we know. We hear you. You're just repeating yourself over and over.
Well, I think it's important to note that when she got there and the door to her office was locked, and she was screaming for the man to come open it for her, and as soon as he opened it, he ran because he's not allowed to be seen by the queen minister of the church. I think it's probably a bad sign.
Well, like when they're doing their panning of the audience, right? Other than the other housewives, the people there are not dressed in designer clothing. Like it's very clear that her class status is wildly different. And I am assuming that a lot of what she's teaching is like prosperity gospel stuff. And this could be wrong, but I have read that there's a lot of like folks in that circle who have like taken out second mortgages to pay their tithe to the church and all of that. Meanwhile, she like, because she married her grandpa or her step grandpa, she inherited all of this property and all these businesses from her grandmother.
Well, it's also important to note that in the LDS church, or at least some LDS churches, to join the church, you actually have to show them records of your finances so that they can tell you how much you're going to tithe. And so,
well, she's not LDS; she's Pentecostal.
I know. But what I'm saying is that I think that they are benefiting from that culture being in Salt Lake, and so these people. Even if they've never been Mormon, they are at least familiar with the idea that we have to. If we're going to be a part of a church, we've got to give them money.
So tithing culture.
Yes, I think that's part of it. And I'll also say that they're like, oh, Mary is just the most talented preacher. As somebody who's heard a lot of preachers in their life, Mary is not the most talented preacher I've ever heard. That's for sure.
It's people who haven't been to church. Like when Andy was saying it was so exciting to hear Mary preach. I'm like, she was literally just yelling mean things at the housewives, like something about Lisa, hope you find your mind or something.
Yeah, literally.
It was...
when Andy said that he felt like he was touched by the spirit watching this episode, and then I'm watching the episode, I'm like, this is really pitiful.
Felt really unsettled by it, to be honest.
So there are a couple of things I want to address about the other girls and their approach to the church service. Number one, I want to acknowledge that Bronwyn was the first one there. She was there in plenty of time for the service to start. And then the second thing I want to acknowledge is the CVS compression boot that Meredith had on when she showed up. That was definitely a move.
Yeah. Didn't even address it. Was just like, this is happening because of her weird blue toe.
Oh my word.
One thing I will say, I think all the women felt touched by it and had an emotional response. All of them have severe religious trauma.
Of course.
Specifically Heather, Whitney, Bronwyn. I think seeing one of their friends speak with things are going to get better for you, even if it's not in a church setting, someone looking at you and being like, I believe in you. I believe good things for you. That just feels almost overwhelming.
Yes.
And I think that explains some of the emotional response to that as well.
Well, and they're all going through stuff. I mean, Bronwyn's marriage, Whitney's marriage, Lisa's marriage, they've all got business issues and business dealing problems. Heather's still dealing with her emotional and religious trauma.
Yeah.
Angie's got stuff going on too. I mean, we ain't even seen her husband this season. So, I mean, who knows what's going on there? Sean's not been around at all.
Wow. I didn't even notice that. That's true.
So I think there's, and then obviously the fallout from her and Mary's relationship in general, I think some of this was just healing for that. And so I think maybe that's some of what Andy was kind of speaking to at BravoCon. But still, on the whole, I thought the most interesting part about the episode was the Brittany and Jared stuff.
That man is diabolical. The thing that really stood out to me, aside from the fact that they ran in the woods like weirdos, was the way when she was like, I want to leave, and she went to grab her jacket and he pulled it back from her.
Oh.
I was like, and then you could see in his eyes, it registered. Go back and watch it. You can see it registers. The cameras are there. And he's like, oh, here. And I'm like, this is what he does to her. This is him. No, you can't have that. No, messing with her over and over and over.
Well, he's a bully and he's a gaslighter and he's a liar and a piece of human trash. And the truth of the matter is,
he's the loser Osmond.
I mean, I would be worried if the cameras weren't there because he basically took her to the park from the Serial podcast to have this walk. I'm like, there's got to be dead bodies an inch deep in this soil that they're running on. I mean, the whole thing and the whole idea that he's like, oh, if you want to be together, maybe you can show me a day of stability. Maybe you can just be stable for once.
He was so mean to her. And she's like, you're the one who can't figure out if you want to be with me or not. How can I be stable if you can't tell me what you want?
And he's just like, well, just be stable and then I'll want to be with you. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, the fact that she has ruined her relationship with her children over this man, this piece of crap, and that he was at BravoCon still, that they are still together even after this conversation, it's sick. And the women are sick of it too. And that whole room at BravoCon, they booed him.
They sure did.
There ain't a person in there that, I mean, literally would rather stab him than look at it.
Well, I think at the beginning when Brittany first came on that she was kind of clout chasing with him. And then now he is very much clout chasing with her because she has become extremely recognizable, much more than him.
I'll also say something from the episode that I was thinking about. So there was another line of talking about Meredith basically living in New York and that she's really not like a Salt Lake City housewife and that she's there most of the time. And here is an idea that I had to pitch to Andy. And that would be that Meredith and Lisa move to New York and they bring back Sonia, Dorinda, and Luann, and that would be the new New York house cast.
Yeah, I mean, that could be interesting. Or I would love to see all of them on like a girls' trip even.
Yeah, even that being the girls' trip, and it would make sense because of the New York connections. But now you got to realize Sundance is moving to Boulder, Colorado, so Lisa's not going to have Sundance anymore.
Oh, that's interesting.
This is the last year of Sundance in Park City. Yeah, they've outgrown it. So they're moving Sundance to Boulder, and it's literally going to change the entire economy of Park City.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yep.
Well, let's shift to Bronwyn. I want to start by saying if she is not being sponsored by Dr. Pepper, she needs to. But also, the sponsorships in SLC this year have been almost as on the nose as the ones in Nobody Wants This. Like, you know, Lisa eating a Wendy's and talking about that on her way from the airport. Angie being like, don't forget this Neutrogena sunscreen to put in your bag. I'm like, she said it like 3 times. I'm like, y'all, we get it. Okay. It's like almost, it makes me want to change the channel when they do stuff like that.
Bronwyn's like, let me drink this full sugar Dr. P.
She is being sponsored by that because she literally is drinking it and like you'll see everybody else drinking wine and she's just got a glass full of brown Dr. Pepper.
I mean, she's sitting there having to talk to Farty McFarterson, so she needs that full cracked out, full sugar DP.
Yeah. I felt really sorry for her. It broke my heart. And I think having seen the way that her mother speaks to her and the way he's spoken down to her and the way that she was like, I just often feel like I'm not enough. I'm like, you are one of the most popular housewives, period. Stunning. She has moved herself from being like a 19-year-old single mother to a multi-millionaire. You know, I just feel like she doesn't give herself enough credit for what she's been able to do over the last 18 years.
Well, and the thing is that, you know, I saw some pictures that someone posted online of what they look like when they got together. And Todd, you know, when they got together, Todd was...
Can you put that in the episode?
Yeah. Todd was in his maybe even his late 40s when they got together.
Oh.
And now he's in his mid 60s.
Yeah.
And so they've been together about as long as we have, I think, or at least married about as long as we have.
They've been married for like 10 years.
Okay. I think they've been together though.
But together for like 15. Yeah.
And so when they got together, she was in her 20s and he was in his late 40s, right? And now he's 65 and she's 40. And it's a very different situation.
Well, she's 39. She's my age. Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Okay. And so that's, I think, some of the dynamic here is that Todd has aged and Todd is also extremely wealthy and probably has the ability to, you know, solicit things from women that are not his wife. And I think that there is some level, even that's being exposed in the plot line this season, of like, I believe they're in the middle of trying to work out an arrangement of some sort. And so I think we're seeing it, but Todd's not actually wanting to talk about it. So it actually makes him look much worse than he has to. If he would just kind of own up to what's actually happening here, which I think is what Bronwyn's trying to like lay the groundwork for him to talk a little bit about, like that this can be a normal thing, that they can still love each other, that they can still care for each other, but there's going to be an arrangement of some sort. But instead, he's just like, no, we're not going to talk about this. I don't want to talk about it. no, that's not for the cameras. And it's like, it ends up just making him look like he's a cheater and a weirdo, when I think there's probably a little bit more of a permission structure going on here than has been revealed in the story thus far.
Well, and I'm not saying this is Todd, because we don't know, but I do think for men of a certain age, the chase and the secrecy and the ability to kind of like subconsciously humiliate their wife is part of the game for them, genuinely, especially if there's contempt for her. To your point earlier, I think that if they are angry at their wives or feel, like they're not being taken as seriously or whatever, that there is a level of, I'm not going to even tell you about this. I'm not going to try to have an arrangement. I am doing this because I don't respect you. And she is trying to avoid that. She is saying, listen, you can have what you need. We can't be everything for each other. We've been married for ages. And if you need something that I'm not providing, I would rather us have some like guardrails and me know about it, because I don't want to be humiliated by people. I want to be able to say, no, we have a permission structure. This is fine, and let it rock. But I can't do that if you won't tell me what's going on and what you need.
Well, I think also that that's the whole game, right? Is that I think there's some of this where he's embarrassed by all of this.
Yeah.
Like, I think he participates in the show, and I think like there's a part of him that likes the fact that he's on there. But for the most part, I think that this impacts him more negatively than positively, in terms of like exposing himself to this. And I think like he is angry, yet like he likes what he gets out of it financially, probably. He likes what he gets out of it notoriety wise, but he also is embarrassed that this is how he's getting that notoriety.
Talking about sex is really hard, even if it's just the two of you. Like, talking about it on national television, I imagine, is really difficult.
With a camera in your face.
Yeah. I will say it's genius for him to do it, though, because then when he retires, like, this is something that could go on a while. And I think that...
Well, and he comes out smelling like a rose.
Yeah, like... but he's part of that age group. He's like my mother's age, where they just talking about stuff like that, going to therapy, God forbid. My mom is convinced that therapy is only for people who go to, and I quote, her loony bins. Like, she just does not. When I told her I was in therapy, after Dad died, she was like, why? And I'm like, because life and Dad died. And she's like, I think you're fine. Just pray. And I'm like, you're right. Okay, sure.
I feel like most people over 50 that don't live in like big urban centers, they see therapy as like literally for people who go to Arkham Asylum. Like, you know what I mean?
Like a failure. Like, as
yes.
Like
there's something wrong with me, like in the big sense, the global sense.
Which is so weird because, like, I mean, we've talked about this forever, but if you break a bone or like I have hives, I'm going to get an allergy panel on Monday. Like, all of that's super normal. But if it happens to be like mental, or you're feeling unwell and you go to a professional, they're like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing. I'm like, well, I don't want to be crazy. And so I'm trying to like get it under control for myself. I don't want to feel like I'm being unspooled.
Ooh, good word.
Oh, thank you.
Unspooled.
But yeah, I think that's probably really hard for Todd. And I do empathize with that. And I respect Bronwyn and Whitney for having this conversation about arrangements, about how difficult it is to like maintain that level of intimacy in a relationship. And I think Whitney showed a lot too about how, like, look, when we first got together, I was just at home with the kids. And then that shifted once I had notoriety and a job and businesses, and it was a struggle for him and for us. So I guess that's the theme of today, that men really struggle when their wives do well.
I would prefer you do well.
I know you would, buddy.
All right. I think that's our show for this evening.
Yes, please follow us on YouTube. That's the best place to follow us. And I will post some questions on the Instagram too. So that you can send us anything for the Snitchuation Room. And we'll talk to you soon.
Yes.
Bye.
Go to popsnitch.com to submit your ideas for the Snitchuation Room.
Okay,
bye.